This Memorial's Day, the Ralph E. Johnson Jr. YouTube channel is paying homage to the women and men who paid the ultimate price in the defense of America. We are also paying homage to the fort, formerly known as Fort Whetstone, that was built during the Revolutionary War. The fort was later renamed after James McHenry, President George Washington's Secretary of War at the time. Fort McHenry is the only American national monument that has been designated a historic shrine. Therefore, I am standing on holy ground. Many people know Fort McHenry as being the birthplace of the national anthem, which was written by Francis Scott Key during the War of 1812, September 14th, 1814. But in actuality, Fort McHenry was so much more. And before I go on, I would like to give a shout out to Mary Pickersgill and Grace Wisher, the women who made the flag that we call the Star Spangled Banner. To be honest, I do not know what President James Madison and Congress were thinking about when they declared war on Great Britain, which was a superpower at the time. This ignited the War of 1812, and almost immediately British soldiers ran amok on American soil, even managed to burn down the White House. Next on the agenda was the port city of Baltimore, which the British soldiers desperately wanted to conquer to have a strategic edge during the war. The only thing that stood before Great Britain and supreme dominance was Fort McHenry, which stood on the banks of a small Baltimore neighborhood called Locust Point. It was only defended by 1,000 or more soldiers, many of which were citizen soldiers. The British tried to bomb Fort McHenry off the map. However, history will prove otherwise. Fort McHenry could not be taken, Baltimore was saved, and eventually the British defeat made them settle for a peace treaty in America's favor. Fort McHenry also served in other major wars. During the Civil War, it served as a prison. As you can see, it imprisoned Confederate soldiers, and it also imprisoned a lot of Maryland politicians who were campaigning for Maryland to be a part of the Confederacy. President Lincoln was not playing. During World War I, Fort McHenry also served as an army hospital for the troops. And during World War II, it served as a training base for the Coast Guard.
Especially on December 7th, the banner was playing, the flag went up.
In 1925, Fort McHenry became a national park.